Hello and welcome to Rust Locker, and in today's video I'm going to be fixing something on the Civic that is not really a major big deal, but it is quite an annoying little thing, and that is the gear shifter sloppiness. Okay, so here's the gear shifter, and that's in neutral at the moment obviously, so that's fine. So put it into first gear, goes in okay, no sort of notchiness or grinding, but look at how much play there is whilst it's in gear there in first gear. Proper floppy. And then second gear, again, floppy as anything. Third, fourth, fifth, reverse. So although it's not like it doesn't make shifting difficult or anything like that, it is just a little bit annoying that it feels so weak and floppy. So what I want to do is I want to tighten this up if I can. There's some bushings that are actually underneath the car that I've got replacements for that I'm going to do today. I've got a second-hand gear shifter piece here which came with all the rubber and plastic for on this side of the gear shifter, so I might have to take all the centre console apart and stuff as well. So let's get outside and see what's going on. Okay, so the first things I'm noticing underneath here is quite a bad oil leak coming from somewhere. I don't know, it looks like oil to me. It's coming from somewhere around here. I think that might be that's the gearbox. Yeah, so we've got quite a savage gearbox oil leak. Look at it around the drive shaft there, which is great. Okay, so come up here to the back end of the gearbox. This is the gear linkage thingy here. This is the gear selector, and as you can see there's a fair bit of play in that. I haven't got a replacement for that, I don't think, so hopefully I might be able to just tighten that up. Everything is proper coated in oil. This is bad. This is your gear stabilizer rod, and there's a bit of play there in that as well. It's further down at the back here. There's a bush there. I've got a replacement for that. But anyway, you can see that there's, in the stabilizer bar, there's a lot of play, and in the actual linkage, look at that. Let's have a look at the new bits that I've got. Okay, so this is 2 bushings and some grease in there. I also got this second hand, which has got quite a good bushing still in the middle there. Not sure if I'm going to need this. And I also have this, which is a rubber piece to go inside the plastic bit to go inside the ball there to stop that rocking side to side. Don't know if I'm going to be using those, but I'm definitely going to be using these, so I need to start dismantling the gear selector and gear stabilizer rod thing. But what I might do is try and clean up this oil spill a little bit, see what's going on a bit better. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to undo those 2 bolts there and get that bracket off first, and then undo this bolt here I think as well. See if I can detach this end from the car. Alright, so I'm going to take the centre console out. I think I need to remove the back piece first. There's a couple of screws, one there, one around the other side, so I'll get them first. And then what I've done is I just prised up this little plastic flap, and there's another couple of screws under there. Okay, so the new issue is these screws here are so tight, they're put in by some kind of fucking psychopath, and it's actually just broken the teeth off of this bit whilst trying to turn them. They're in so tight, it's unbelievable. It must be cross-threaded, I don't know. Oh, it's unbelievable. I think these fuckers are going to have to... I think I'm going to have to drill these out. Come on, let's see if we can just get one out. Okay, so I just drilled out the top of that screw, so I pulled that off. I'll worry about how to fit this back on later. As you can see, that's what's holding the centre console down, so I'll drill out that screw next. Okay, after about half an hour of working on just 2 screws, finally managed to get this centre console piece up. Burnt a hole through the bloody plastic of the centre console, so I need like a bigger washer when I fix this. But anyway, now I can pull that up. Need to unplug these wires at the back there. Unscrew the gear knob. There's a couple of screws on the side of this centre console, one there and one on the other side. Okay, the super annoying thing is I've got to take these 2 switches out and take the stereo out as well, because the screws holding this centre console in at the top here, so when I sort of pull it, the bottom here is loose, but this top is all still fixed. So I've got to get the radio out and these 2 switches. So the switch does have a little tiny hole there for you to stick something in. Try not to mash up the plastic though. That took bloody ages as well, trying to get these 2 little metal clips sort of pinned in without destroying this, but I've made some marks there, but I don't know how people do it, to be honest, without damaging things. So I unclip these, and there's a couple of screws up there. And I've also got to take the bloody stereo out as well. Are we there yet? No. Just got to bend all the little tabs that someone has bent to put the cage in, to hold the cage in, but you've got to bend them back out. To get it out. Come on, yes. And there's the last screw. Oh. Come on now, moment of truth. Yes. Okay, so now we can look at the gear stick from this perspective. Boot and that seems alright. In other news, these are the tops of the 2 bolts that hold the bush on underneath, and they're just spinning around. They used to be tack welded, I think, and I've broken the welds because the bolt was so rusty. I made a little mark pointing this way, went underneath, turned the bolt, came up here, and the marks have moved, so these are definitely the ones. I Now I don't know how the hell I'm going to get these out, because there's nothing to grip onto on this side. So I might have to just cut them out and then get new bolts. So I've drilled one bolt out, and this one's about to come loose, and then that bushing clamp thing should come out from underneath. I'll just get this bastard off. Okay, finally got that bolt out there, and now this whole gear stick assembly thing is now falling down to the ground. Let's have a look underneath. So yeah, you can see this is now detached from the car. So now I've got to undo it from this end as well. And now I also need to get new bolts to replace the ones that I've literally just drilled through. So just undoing this front bolt now. Getting shit in my mouth. Only just comes out. Okay, I couldn't quite get the bolt out, so I just sent the gears backwards. I think I just put it in fourth, but that allows you to get the bolt out of there, and that's that bit done. Right, what's next? Okay, so this is the piece I managed to get out of the car, the bit that's actually got the bush here that I've got a replacement for, and the bush here that I've got a replacement for. Okay, so I'm just going to undo these two bolts here, which should free away this gear shifter there, so then I can take off the old boot there and see which one is best. Okay, so that's interesting. The one on the right here is a second-hand one that I bought off of eBay, and I specifically bought this and I specifically bought this because it came with the plastic bits and pieces for about the same price as one of these, and I got this as well. So and there's slight differences in that they've got a metal ball here, whereas this one's coated in some sort of like plastic. The ball's a little bit bigger, and the actual shaft is a bit fatter, girthier. So yeah, I don't know, I might use this one instead. Okay, so I'm going to use the new bushings that I got. Probably just going to fit these first and worry about all this later. quite easy. Okay, so that's kind of in there straight, I think, and on. So now over to the next one, which is this one. Okay. So the standard one comes with little holes for tabs to go in for this bracket to hold it up, and the aftermarket one doesn't. So it's going to be a little bit more tricky to refit, but let's pull the bracket out. Oh dear. Okay, the end here is a little bit like flared, so I'm going to try and compress it a little bit to help get the new bush on, and then flare it out again afterwards. Okay, helps. Yes. Okay, so that's on there. I'm going to splay these out again a little bit. Okay, now that'll go on there. The next thing is, yeah, gear shifter. Okay, now I think this is how it goes. That plate goes on the back there, these bolts go up like that. But because my rubber thing was so mashed up, I don't know if that's different or if that's what this used to, you know, or if that is what this used to look like. I don't know. But that goes like that, and then this bit comes over, and I think I need to get it over that, this rubber. And so that's going to require a bit of grease as well. Okay, yeah, because this bit actually won't fit over the ball because it's slightly bigger on this gear shifter, I am actually going to have to use my old gear shifter. So I'll take this rubber off, put that rubber on. This is the plastic grommet that came with mine, so it's still in good nick, so we'll still be able to reuse that. But unfortunately I'm not going to be able to use this shifter, I don't think, because this just won't fit over the top of everything. Still not going to work. Alright, I've got no idea if I've done this right or not. But I've kind of got the rubber sandwiched in the grooves of the different pieces. Now I'm just doing up the bolts, hopefully. If it's not right, at least it'll work. That's very stiff now. I don't know if I've done that right or not, but this is kind of a mix of different bits and pieces of second-hand bits and the different rubber, but we'll see. Okay, so I'm not going to bother undoing this now because at the end of the day I haven't got any bits to repair it with. I know there's a lot of play there, but I can't get the spare part to fix that, so I'm just going to have to leave this bit and concentrate on the bit that I have got the spare parts for. I'm going to refit this first. Okay, so I'm going to attach this end first. I think I've got the gear stick up through the hole, so I'll attach this end. Okay, I can't quite get this in without pushing it, so I'm going to use a jack, hopefully, to just press it in. Right, so I was about to attach this part of the new bush up into the car, and I looked at the old one and I realised that this has got two metal sleeves in it, and my new polyurethane bush doesn't, so obviously I have to take these sleeves out and put them in the new bush, but the new bush is now attached back there, so I've got to pull these sleeves out and stick them in there somehow. I should have done this when it was on the table, but never mind. Okay, that's them in then. Right, so you remember those two bolts that went here? I had to drill the tops out of because they were too rusted at the bottom there. Well, I've got two replacement bolts. I think are going to work. These nice little zinc ones. So if I stick them in from the top like that, and then got some bolts and some washers, or some nuts and some washers rather, and go and bolt it up from the bottom side. Ah, you fucker.
No, I didn't say that. You said that. I said,
To swap the bolts because these don't have enough thread on them, so I just replaced them with some other ones that had thread all the way down. Locked them off with a couple of spanners, so then I can go underneath and tighten the bolts up from underneath. Things you've got to do when you work on your own. The metal cage thing, or the metal bracket, doesn't actually fit the new bushing. As you can see, there's a gap there. So, yeah, if you can see that. But this piece here, this stabiliser bar, is now a lot more sturdier than it was. You can barely move it at all. So things are looking good. Next thing I've got to do is reattach the bottom of the gear shift, the gear lever. Alright, so I've put the two little washers on the ends of that gear stick thing. My light keeps going out, I think the battery's dying. Just going to try and get it on here without knocking the washers off. Right, so I'm back on this side of the car now, and doing those two stabiliser bar bushes has certainly helped a hell of a lot, but it's still not 100% perfect. So I don't know if you can remember from what it looked like before, but it was very wobbly, and there was a lot of play. So now that's first, and that's second, that's third. It already feels like a lot more sort of stiff. It's not all floppy and wobbly, but there is still a lot of movement when it's in the gear, and that is definitely because of the linkage. So if I show you from underneath again quickly. Okay, so we've got a new bush in there at the front, and that has got zero play there, and the new bush at the back there. So the actual gear stabiliser thing is pretty solid now, but we do still have quite a lot of play in the actual gear selector, which is this thing here. So this is going to need to be repaired. You can't really easily buy the spare parts to fix the bushings in here. I've managed to locate a new boot, a new oil seal for in here, and a new pin to reattach it. That'll cure hopefully this oil leak that I've got coming from here. So yeah, there's still some work to do to get the gear shifter as good as I want it to be. I've ordered some new parts, I've ordered the seals. I'm still trying to find a kit that will replace those bushings, but I also saw a video on YouTube where someone replaced it using fuel hose and a bolt, so that's probably what I'll end up doing next. I'm going to call it a day there for this video, but there probably will be a part 2 coming very soon within the next few days. Hopefully if those other parts arrive, then I can fit those, and then hopefully we can get this even better and even more tight. So make sure you've subscribed and clicked for notifications so that you'll be notified when I release the part 2 of this video. I will catch you on the next one.